And our mandate as the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development is largely to ensure the sustainable utilization of our energy, minerals, and petroleum resources, where we are planning for the different projects that will unlock Uganda's potential when it comes to minerals, petroleum, and energy. Now, when it comes to the sustainable energy development, which is among our programs that we are implementing in the National Development Plan 3, but we shall also continue to implement in the National Development Plan 4, that we will start its implementation starting financial year 25-26 through the financial year 29-30. So in the Sustainable Energy Development Program, we committed as a ministry, number one, to ensure that we increase access to electricity to Ugandans, but also two, that we are delivering clean energy to Ugandans, and that this energy will be reliable and affordable. So there is another target that we set to continue lowering the cost of electricity, largely to drive industrialization and increased production for our different manufacturers. We are happy to report that on the access side, today we are reporting an access rate of 60%, where 22% of that is on the grid in terms of access to electricity, and 38% is off-grid, where we deploy solar home systems, but also what we call mini-grids. These are decentralized off-grid solutions that we extend to islands, but also remote locations such as Lamo and other far-to-reach areas. So at 60% access, of course, we've set targets to see that we increase our access to electricity to cover all Ugandans under the Sustainable Development Goal 7, where we committed to ensure universal access to electricity for all Ugandans. Now, in addition to having achieved that access rate, we have been keen to unlock our generation capacity in terms of power generation, but also our transmission capacity and distribution capabilities. On the generation side, we are happy to report that we've grown the generation capacity to 2,051.6 megawatts, and we are determined to continue growing this capacity in order to meet the growing needs and the growing population of Ugandans. So we've set new targets to ensure that this generation capacity is increased to 52,000 megawatts by the year 2040. So for us to achieve the current 2,051.6 megawatts, we saw the commissioning of Karuma hydropower plant during the last year, 2024, and that brought on stream an additional 600 megawatts of power, and other smaller hydropower plants and solar power plants. Away from generation, of course, we are committed to ensure that this power is evacuated, and we do that through the evacuation lines that we develop. So we've ensured, alongside the Karuma project, we commissioned 3 lines, Karuma Kawanda, that is evacuating power from Karuma to Kawanda substation and then distributing to the wider central region. But we also connected a number of other areas from Karuma to Oluyo, but also Karuma Lira, and those lines were equally commissioned, and that grew our transmission capabilities. Beyond the lines that were integrated with Karuma hydropower plant, we also have seen the connection of West Nile, the region, to the national grid, where we commissioned a key line, Kole Gulu, going through Nebi to Arua. And that 220 kV line will stimulate the development of West Nile. We are cognizant of the need to continue supporting on the distribution side to ensure that more of the districts in the West Nile region are connected, especially focusing on growth centers. And as a ministry, we have worked to identify these growth centers where we are focusing on supporting agro-processing facilities, supporting the parish development model, supporting small and medium enterprises, but critically also supporting public institutions covering health centers, schools, and supporting water schemes, because sometimes these water schemes require power to pump water to the end users. So as we continue to support on the distribution side, we have earmarked these growth centers, and our different interventions will ensure that power is extended to these areas. We are also focused on the distribution side to continue meeting our commitment to universal access. And we launched in the last year the Electricity Access Scale-Up project supported by the World Bank, where we will be connecting or making 1 million connections, adding to our current 60% access rate. Now, with those 1 million connections, we've already launched the single pole. That means if you only need one pole to get power to your premise or premises, and then no pole if you already have a pole within your vicinity and you want to connect. We've been connecting through our free electricity connections policy under this Electricity Access Scale-Up project. Under UMEME rolled out those connections, and so far we've seen those come to about 94,000 as we continue to grow those rates through the year 2025. Besides the launch of the Electricity Access Scale-Up project, our other target under the Sustainable Energy Development Program has been to continue lowering the cost of electricity. You will note that our electricity tariffs are driven by a number of aspects. They are driven by how we invest in the power generation, and over the years the government has ensured as much as possible we invest in our large hydropower plants using public funding, the way we've done for Karuma, the way we've done for Isimba hydropower plant, which has contributed tremendously to the effort to continue lowering our power tariffs. Today, compared to the privately developed power generation plants like Bujagali and others, for Isimba and Karuma, we are able to achieve a power generation tariff of 4.1 US cents per kilowatt hour for Isimba and 4.9 US cents per kilowatt hour for Karuma, compared to the privately developed power generation plants that are in the region of 8 to even 10 sometimes. So in order for us to continue lowering these power tariffs, we continue to mobilize public funding as we move into our next set of generation plants. But arising from the effect of these new plants that we've commissioned, we have seen in this year, at the start of the calendar year 2025, in the new year, the Ministry of Energy, led by our minister, announced new power tariffs, where we've been able to, again, reduce the tariffs further by about 5.2%, saving about 155 billion Ugandan shillings. Last year, we were able to reduce by about 1.6%, which led to a saving of about 40 billion Ugandan shillings. And now this year, we are seeing this significant reduction of 5.2%, leading to a saving of 155 billion Ugandan shillings. And this effort will continue, especially now as we wind up the operations of UMEME and bring on board the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited. We anticipate that we'll continue experiencing a downtrend in our power tariffs.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels and many others for home comfort. With every piece telling a story of royal excellence, our products are built with the highest quality materials made to last. Experience royalty with Royal Foam Furniture, proudly made in Uganda, so buy Uganda and build Uganda. Visit our showrooms at Ginger Road, Chambogo Junction, Bukota Chisasi Road, and on Victoria Mall, Entebbe, on the first floor.
Beyond the current hydropower, but also solar and a bit of cogeneration from bagasse and thermal, to bring on board geothermal power, nuclear energy, and more solar to benefit from our location along the equator. So under this program, we are also running an active nuclear energy program, where out of the targeted 52,000 megawatts that we intend to generate by 2040, of that, 24,000 megawatts will come from nuclear power. So we have done extensive work with the International Atomic Energy Agency that is located in Vienna, Austria, to assess our preparedness to develop this nuclear power. And the International Atomic Energy Agency cleared us to progress to the next stage, where we will contract and ensure that we have a partner with whom we are walking this journey of nuclear power development. In addition, they have supported us in assessing our preparedness to ensure the sustainable exploitation of uranium, which is one of the sources of the fuels that we use for nuclear power. And our program is on course. We are working with Soroti University to set up a Center for Nuclear Science and Technology that will enable us create a critical mass of Ugandans on our human resource capacity development side to be able to support this program to deploy nuclear power. But in addition, we are working to ensure that our first plant that will be located in Buyende in eastern Uganda progresses. We continue to engage the different stakeholders, including the communities where this plant will be located, to ensure that we acquire that land and that we progress our plans for nuclear power development. So this will remain a critical aspect of our Sustainable Energy Development Program as we advance to implementing the National Development Plan 4. We've just come from COP29 in Azerbaijan, Baku, and we made commitments. We made commitments to enhance our energy efficiency, and we are already tabling a bill in Parliament to ensure that energy efficiency and conservation is enhanced in the country. We made commitments to accelerate our renewable energy development, and that's why we'll be launching all these power projects to ensure that we continue maintaining the clean energy that we are already boasting of, where 93% of our electricity power is from clean energy. We also committed that we'll advance clean cooking, where we are looking to support the 80% of Ugandans that continue to use biomass, that is not a very clean and sustainable fuel, to be able to find replacements or alternative sources of energy. So as a ministry, we are committed to support the country and therefore the citizenry in accessing liquefied petroleum gas as a form of clean source of energy for cooking. And in addition to the oil marketing companies that are already trading in liquefied petroleum gas, we did identify the bottlenecks that are affecting the penetration of liquefied petroleum gas. And one of them is the cost of cylinders, the upfront cost of the LPG cylinders and its accessories. So as the government, we have committed and entered an agreement, or actually two agreements, to keep rolling out cylinders to support more Ugandans access this clean source of energy. So on the clean cooking side, we are also committed to ensure that we advance aspects of liquefied petroleum gas. Under the National Development Plan 3 that we are winding up, we've been implementing the Sustainable Petroleum Development Program. And in there, we made several commitments. We committed to ensure that we sustainably utilize our crude oil and gas resources. And this would be through commercialization projects that include the oil refinery, but also the East Africa crude oil pipeline, and therefore the development of the upstream petroleum facilities. We are happy to report that there's been significant progress in that area, where we've seen the progress of the upstream development project with the fields in the Tilenga area covering the Pakwach Basin, but also Bulisa, but also the Kingfisher area covering areas of Chikube, Hoima. We have seen quite some work being done where the drilling of oil wells has progressed, and we are on track to have all the wells we've planned for. Just for Tilenga, we've been able to drill so far about 93 oil wells, and for Kingfisher, we've equally advanced. Of course, there are other areas we are focusing on the quantification of our mineral resources. We are happy to highlight the fact that we've concluded the airborne geophysical surveys for Karamoja and the Lamo districts, and these we will be adding to the earlier completed segment for the entire country of 80%, and therefore having the entire country largely surveyed at that level. We will now proceed into what we call quantification. We have now mapped up, we know where all the mineral targets are, but we now need to advance the efforts to quantify and know the exact quantities of minerals that exist in these areas. So that will be our focus area as we enter the implementation of the National Development Plan 4, starting, of course, next financial year, and we are building up in terms of the preparations for that, and we've seen enormous support from Cabinet, but also from His Excellency the President to support us in advancing this particular aspect. So on the mineral side, we have already seen the impact of value addition in the increased collections that we reported this financial year, even as a part of the Auditor General's report. However, we are also cognizant that this is not all, that there is much more that we can continue bringing to the Treasury through these mineral resources, and that's why we are advancing all these efforts to ensure that we enhance the collections in the mineral subsector. And the other area of focus will be the participation of Ugandans in the mineral subsector, where we will be replicating the national content program we've seen under petroleum, to ensure that we support more local companies, but also employment of Ugandans in the mineral subsector. So that is also going to be one of our focus areas as the ministry, but also as the government, as we advance into the implementation of the National Development Plan 4. So as the ministry, we remain committed in developing our capacity. We continue to develop our internal human resource capabilities to ensure that we match the task at hand of supporting in unlocking the enormous potential that exists across board, be it in energy, minerals, or petroleum. And I also want to use this opportunity to thank, of course, first our ministerial team, led by the Honorable Dr. Ruth Nankabira, for the clear leadership and commitment that she continues to demonstrate in guiding us and stewarding the ministry. So I want to use this opportunity to thank the Uganda Broadcasting Corporation, UBC, who is our ardent partner, for giving us this opportunity to just highlight the strides that we are making and our areas of focus going forward, but also the challenges. The challenges will always be there, and we work across board, we work collectively to ensure that we are addressing them. As the usual whole of government approach, we have tackled the challenge of vandalism on our transmission network that has largely died out. We are aware that it continues on the distribution side because of the way the distribution network is organized. It is scattered, and we are working with the different security forces, but also to enhance our technologies to ensure that we address this vice of vandalism. And we are working a lot with the communities, community policing, and we want to use this opportunity to thank the local governments, but also the communities where we operate, for continuing to support us in tackling these incidents of vandalism. We have worked closely with the Directorate of Public Prosecution to ensure that the stringent penalties that we provided for in the amended Electricity Act are implemented in order to deter vandals from continuing and desisting from this very bad vice. There are other issues we continue to discuss with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that on the budget support side we are well supported to be able to advance our different programs, especially under the rural electrification. And we've seen the enormous support that finance gives, and they've understood our needs, and they will continue supporting us in that endeavor. Of course, we are working to ensure we wind up the operations of Umeme, who have made their contribution for the last 20 years, and the government took the strategic decision to ensure that we support our utility companies. In this particular instance, the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company Limited, to be able to take on the operations of these particular assets. And we have advanced the preparations, and come 1st April 2025, Umeme will wind up, and the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company will continue with the operations of this network. We've already started the process of recruiting additional staff into the UEDCL, the distribution company, and this will reinforce and enforce the existing capabilities that we already have in this company. And the other aspects are largely on the financing side, where we are having discussions with the Ministry of Finance to be able to meet all the other requirements, be it the claim as Umeme winds up in terms of what we term as the buyout amount. And to explain it a little bit, this buyout amount is largely investments that Umeme has made that have not yet been recovered through the tariff as they wind up, because the mechanism was for Umeme to recover their investments through the tariffs overseen by the Electricity Regulatory Authority. So the Office of the Auditor General has led on this. They have largely concluded, and today we know what this amount will look like, and they will be formally communicating, and we will in turn communicate to Ministry of Finance the final amount, well noting that even in the remaining 2 months, Umeme will be making some minimal investments, and those too have to be recovered. So those are the aspects that we are working on, and our commitment, even as Umeme exits, is to ensure that we continue supplying reliable power, and that our customer services remain as they were, or even better, based on the new targets that we are setting for the Uganda Electricity Distribution Company. So we will continue working across board, working with the regulator, the Electricity Regulatory Authority, to ensure that we are handling this in a manner that will ensure the sustainability of the electricity supply industry. Once again, I wish to thank you for listening, and as a ministry, we are committed to ensuring that we continue meeting our mandate for the good of the people of Uganda, all in the public interest. I thank you very much.
Step into a world of excellence, comfort and pride with Royal Foam Furniture, crafted to perfection right here in Uganda. We bring you state-of-the-art living room furniture and bedding products at affordable prices. Our wide variety of mattresses include orthopedic, pillow top, spring mattresses suitable for institutions like hotels, and many others.